Noisy Pixel.
Quantum Protocol is billed as a visual novel deck-building card game with a sci-fi theme where card battles represent hacking and destroying malware. Sadly, on that description alone, the visual novel aspect is lackluster and the deck building is limited, but the card game itself isn't all that bad. Quantum Protocol's card game features feel overwhelming at first, as new characters with their own unique decks are rapidly introduced, and you hardly have a chance to get a feel for how one plays before it changes again. There's a mix of short puzzle battles played with a specific deck, often serving as a tutorial for new card mechanics, and long dungeon battles, where you have a choice of character and deck to play with. There are only 6 dungeons in the game, but they can be repeated with each of the 6 main characters, giving you a chance to try out different decks and strategies. Playing cards and taking actions don't require a casting cost. Instead, your strategy currency is time. Enemies act on a timer, counting down each action you take, such as drawing a card, using a special ability, or attacking. Drawing a new card is also on the countdown and refreshes the cards on the field so you can use their attacks or abilities again. The strategy varies from one deck to the next. Still, in general, there is a focus on sacrificing cards, which gives them an extra attack and also changes more powerful abilities, along with reloading your deck from the discard pile. There's no deck building from one stage to the next, but you pick up cards during battles and can customize your deck on the fly. This includes adding new card drops, moving cards into storage, where they can be accessed by certain card abilities or saved for the next time you reload the deck, and combining 3 of the same card into a slightly more powerful version. Card drops are randomized and you're often subject to the mercy of RNG. However, the game relies more on strategy than luck. Enemy waves stay the same on each replay, and you're shown the enemy formation and number of waves left, so it's possible to slowly plan out your moves. The sheer amount of cards and the fact that each deck has its own unique theme makes it hard to keep track of everything. It took me almost the full length of the game, almost about 16 hours, to really get into the right rhythm and synchronize card abilities effectively. The easiest deck is probably the Queens, which is based on the chess theme. For example, knights can attack in an L pattern as well as directly ahead, and pawns can attack diagonally and become queens if they survive on the board long enough. Unlike other decks, you don't get card drops, allowing you to practice your strategy with a deck that's more consistent and reliable, albeit somewhat less interesting. The difficulty is adjustable by increasing the number of turns before the enemy's card effects trigger. The extra margin of error does help, but it seems like there's a missed opportunity here for adjusting the difficulty by making it possible to undo a limited number of turns or waves. Dungeon battles are just so long, often 10 to 20 minutes, and a simple misclick or single unlucky draw can lead you to a lot of wasted time. Even when losing as a result of my own poor strategy, having to continually replay a dozen waves just to get to the final boss who I couldn't figure out ended up feeling more tedious and frustrating than a fun challenge. The card game portions are broken up into short visual novel segments. Unfortunately, they lack in both visual and novel departments. The story is bare bones and disjointed. Told in dialogue only by a consistently growing cast of characters, it's honestly hard to keep track of. Each character had a side image with no variations in expression or voice acting to flesh out their personality. Full body character sprites aren't shown during the story segments, and there are no CGs. Some characters get a little bit of development. Still, for the most part, your interest in their interactions relies heavily on the familiarity with the generic archetypes rather than anything particularly engaging about them. As a framing device for the card game, the story is perfectly serviceable. The artwork is lovely, and the anime style character art and detailed sci-fi backgrounds mesh well with the more minimal pixel art on the cards. Presentation is slick, with a different colored text highlighting for each character. The standard backlog of skip features and a progress bar for each scene. I actually wouldn't have been disappointed in this side of the game if the marketing hadn't raised my expectations. Considering the story's weakness and the high gameplay to story ratio, I can't actually recommend Quantum Protocol to visual novel fans looking for a decent story with a bit of gameplay. Still, I would recommend it to fans of strategic card games. The difficulty could use a few tweaks to make it friendlier to beginners, but experienced players looking for a challenge will certainly find one. Noisy Pixel is giving Quantum Protocol a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.